When I first opened the door that summer morning, I didn't realize how much my life was about to change. My name is Katherine, and I'm 54 years old. A widow, for the past 2 years I had resigned myself to a life of quiet solitude. My days were spent tending my garden, organizing old family photos, and occasionally hosting my daughters and their children. It was peaceful, predictable, a world free from surprises. Then came Caleb. Caleb was 27, the grandson of my late husband's brother. He was supposed to stay for just a week, a brief pit stop on his way to visit family upstate. When I saw him standing on my porch, suitcase in hand, his green eyes sparkling against the summer sun, I had no idea how significant his visit would become. At first, everything was ordinary. Caleb settled into the guest room and spent his days exploring the woods nearby or sitting on the porch, reading. He was quiet, almost brooding, with an air of introspection that intrigued me. I found myself watching him through the kitchen window as he wandered through the garden, his tall frame moving with a quiet intensity that was hard to ignore. It started innocently enough. One afternoon I was wrestling with the old fence in the backyard, a task I'd been putting off for years. Caleb appeared out of nowhere, taking the hammer from my hands with a confident smile. "Let me help," he said. I tried to protest, but he was already at work. Watching him was like stepping back in time. His broad shoulders and steady focus reminded me of a younger version of my late husband. But there was something different about Caleb. He wasn't just helping. He was present, attentive in a way that felt almost intimate. Over the next few days, Caleb's presence became a comfort. We spent evenings on the porch, sipping iced tea and talking about everything and nothing. He shared stories about his childhood, his struggles with finding direction in life, and his love for nature. In return, I told him about my late husband, my daughters, and the life I had built, a life that now felt so far away. There was a warmth in his gaze, a softness that made me feel seen in a way I hadn't felt in years. But it wasn't until the attic incident that everything changed. I'd decided to clean out the attic, a task I'd avoided since my husband's passing. The space was filled with dusty boxes, old furniture, and memories I wasn't sure I was ready to face. Caleb found me struggling with a heavy trunk and insisted on helping. As we sorted through the boxes, we stumbled upon a collection of old photographs. Caleb picked up one of me in my 20s, wearing a sundress and laughing at something off camera. He studied it for a moment, then looked up at me. "You're beautiful," he said, his voice soft but firm. I laughed nervously, brushing off the compliment. "That was a long time ago." "Not much has changed," he replied, his green eyes locking onto mine. The air between us grew heavy, charged with something unspoken. I felt a warmth rise in my chest, a fluttering I hadn't experienced in decades. Before I could process what was happening, Caleb leaned in and kissed me. The kiss was tentative, almost questioning. My first instinct was to pull away, to remind him of our differences, our ages, our roles. But as his lips lingered on mine, I felt a surge of something I couldn't ignore. I kissed him back, letting the moment consume us. When we finally pulled apart, the reality of what had just happened hit me like a wave. I stood up abruptly, brushing dust from my skirt. "This can't happen," I said, avoiding his gaze. "It's wrong." Caleb didn't argue. He simply nodded, his expression a mixture of regret and understanding. "I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable." But I wasn't uncomfortable. I was confused, conflicted, and more alive than I'd felt in years. For the next few days, we avoided talking about what had happened, But the tension between us was palpable. Every glance, every accidental touch felt loaded with meaning. I tried to distract myself with gardening and errands, but no matter what I did, I couldn't get Caleb out of my mind. One evening, as I prepared dinner, Caleb entered the kitchen. He moved closer than he needed to, his presence overwhelming. "Katherine," he began, his voice low and steady. "About the other day. I'm sorry if I crossed a line, but I can't pretend I don't feel something for you." His words sent a shiver down my spine. I turned to face him, my heart pounding. "Caleb, this isn't something we can do," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "It's too complicated." "Sometimes the best things in life are," he replied, stepping closer. "I don't care about the rules, Katherine. I care about you." Before I could respond, he reached out and brushed a strand of hair from my face. His touch was gentle, deliberate, and it broke down every wall I'd built around myself. In that moment, I stopped thinking about what was right or wrong. I let myself feel. The kiss that followed was different from the first. It was urgent, passionate, and filled with a need neither of us could deny. We moved together, forgetting everything else as the world outside faded away. The days that followed were a whirlwind of emotions. Caleb and I fell into a rhythm of stolen moments and quiet confessions. We laughed, we cried, we rediscovered parts of ourselves we thought were lost. But as the summer wore on, reality began to creep back in. One morning, Caleb sat me down on the porch. His expression was serious, his green eyes filled with something I couldn't quite place. "Katherine, I can't stay here forever," he said. "I have to go back to my life, and you deserve someone who can be here for you." His words hit me like a punch to the chest. I knew he was right, but the thought of losing him was unbearable. "What if I don't want you to leave?" I asked, my voice trembling. He reached out and took my hand, his touch grounding me. "You've given me something I'll carry with me forever," he said. "But this isn't fair to either of us. We both know that. The morning Caleb left was one of the hardest of my life." I stood by the window, watching as he walked down the driveway, his suitcase in hand. He paused at the gate and turned back, his gaze meeting mine one last time. He smiled, a bittersweet expression that said everything words couldn't. "Goodbye, Katherine," he said softly. And then he was gone. In the weeks that followed, the house felt emptier than ever. But as I reflected on that summer, I realized Caleb had given me something invaluable. He'd reminded me of who I was, of what it meant to feel, to connect, to truly live. Life went on, but I carried that summer with me, a memory etched into my heart. And though Caleb was gone, the impact he'd had on my life would stay with me forever.